Welcome back to school after a rather strange sort of half-term week. Goodness me, it felt funny, didn't it? We haven't really been in school, and then we had the week of half-term, and now we're kind of back, but we're not back. I'm really confused, guys. We need back to normal very soon, don't we? So, we don't know how long we're going to be carrying on like this. Hopefully it won't be too long. So I've picked a short story for our next few sessions. Might be 7, 8 or 9 sessions for this next short story. I'm going to continue with the Roald Dahl theme because I like telling them and it's my choice. So I've chosen Roald Dahl once again. But I have chosen a book that I used to like reading at home to my son when he was a little bit younger than he is now. And it's called The Giraffe and the Pelly and Me. And it's a book I didn't read when I was little. I wasn't sure about it. But then when I became a dad and I read it to my son, I thought this is a really fun story. I like the animals in it, I like the main character in it, I like the action in it, so I'm going to share it with you over the next few days. Now I'm going to keep it short and sharp, so there might be slightly shorter Jackanory sessions to keep your interest, guys, because I know after a few weeks interest can wane. So I'm going to keep it short and sharp, okay? Right, here goes. Here goes. Not far from where I live, there's an old, empty wooden house, just like the one out there, guys, standing all by itself on the side of a road. I long to explore inside it, but the door to it is always locked. It seems deserted. And when I peer through a window, all I can see is darkness and dust. I know the ground floor used to be a shop because I can still read faded lettering across the front, and it says The Grubber in the faded lettering. Now my mother has told me that in the part of the country in the olden days, a grubber was another name for a sweet shop. My favourite sort of shop, guys. And now every time I look at it, I think to myself, what a lovely old sweet shop that must have been. On the shop window itself, somebody had painted in white the words, for sale. And one morning I noticed that for sale had been scraped off the shop window, and in its place somebody had painted sold. I stood there, staring at the new writing, wishing like mad that it had been me who had bought it, because then I'd been able to make it into the Grubber sweet shop all over again. I've always longed and longed to own a sweet shop. The sweet shop of my dreams will be loaded from top to bottom with sherbet suckers and caramel fudge and Russian toffee and sugar snorters and butter gumballs and thousands of other glorious things like that. Oh, and some of those jelly cola bottles as well. Oh boy, what I couldn't have done with that old grubber shop. If only I'd have bought it, which I didn't. On my next visit past the grubber, I was standing across the road gazing at the wonderful old building, when suddenly, from above, came an enormous bathtub, sailing right out of the sky from the second floor window and crashed right onto the middle of the road in front of me. A few moments later came a toilet and a toilet seat and a toilet cistern, and it came flying out the window at huge speed, splattering, crash on the road in front of me, just like the bathtub. This was followed next by a kitchen sink landing in front of me, and an empty canary cage, and then a 4-poster bed, and 2 hot water bottles, and a rocking horse as well, and a sewing machine, and goodness knows what else around me on the roadside. It looked as though some madman was ripping out the whole of the house, because now pieces of staircase and bits of banister and a whole lot of floorboards came whistling through the windows down onto the ground. But then there was silence, I waited and I waited, but not another sound came from the building. I crossed the road and stood right under the windows and called out, "Is anybody home?" I did it again. "Is anybody home? Hello?" There was no answer. In the end, it began to get dark, so I had to turn away and start walking home. But you can bet your life nothing was going to stop me from hurrying back there again tomorrow morning to see if there was going to be another surprise like today. When I got back to the Grubber house the next morning, the first thing I noticed was a new door. The dirty old brown door had been taken out, and in its place someone had fitted a brand new red door. The new door was fantastic. It was twice as high as the other one had been. It did look ridiculous, but it was fantastic. I couldn't begin to imagine who would want a tremendous tall door like that in the house unless it was probably a giant. As well as this, somebody had scraped away the sold notice on the shop window, and now there was a whole lot of different writing all over the glass. I stood there reading it and trying to figure out what on earth it all meant. It said, "The Ladderless Window Cleaning Company. Get your windows cleaned without a lot of dirty ladders leaning against your house." Whoa, the Ladderless Window Cleaning Company, I thought. Very strange. I tried to catch some sign or sound of movement inside the house, but there was nothing until all of a sudden, from the corner of my eye, I noticed that one of the windows on the top floor was slowly beginning to open outwards. Then a head appeared at the open window. I stared at the head. The head stared back at me with big, round, dark eyes. Suddenly, a second window was flung wide open, and of all the crazy things, a gigantic white bird hopped out and perched on the windowsill. I knew what this one was because of its amazing beak, which was shaped like a huge orange-coloured open basin. It was a pelican, and it looked down at me, and it sang out, "Oh, how I wish for a big fat fish. I'm as hungry as ever could be. A dish of fish is my only wish. How far are we from the sea?" It was a very posh sounding song, a very posh sounding pelican. "We're a long way from the sea, Mr. Posh Singing Pelican," I said. "But there is a fishmonger in the village not far away. He sells fish." "A fish what?" said the pelican. "A fishmonger sells fish." "Now, what on earth would that be? I've heard of fish pie, fish cake, fish fingers even. I've never heard of a fishmonger. Are these fishmongers good things to eat?" Well, this question, it baffled me a bit. So I said, "Who's your friend in the next window?" to divert the conversation. "Well, she, of course, is the giraffe," the pelican answered. "Is she not wonderful? Her legs are on the ground and her head is looking out of the top window." As if all of this wasn't enough, the window now on the first floor was flung wide open, and out popped a monkey. So, let me get this right. I've seen a talking pelican that sings, and is rather posh. There's a giraffe with its head popping out of a window, and now there's a monkey. This really is a rather strange house, and don't even get me started on the Ladderless Window Cleaning Company. I'm really, really confused. Well, let's clear up some of that confusion tomorrow in the next stage of our latest Jackanory adventure. The giraffe and the Pelly and me. It's worth tuning in for. So stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the morning for part 2 of our new adventure. See you later.